She is a former boss of WINS, currently Chief Executive of Lake Taupo Hospice and political commentator. The one, the only, Christine Rankin. Good afternoon.
Hello to you, Leah.
I wasn't sure if you were taking these 3 days off, Christine, between the two weekends.
No,
you're a busy woman.
No. I am busy at the moment and I needed to be at work, so
Good on
glad
you.
to be there.
Thank you.
To be there. Love going to work every day.
Every day above ground is a good day.
I know it's weird, but I really love it.
No, good on you. Christine, let's jump into FamilyBoost first. This was seen as National's flagship cost of living policy. Is this a bit of an embarrassment for them?
Look, I don't know if it's an embarrassment, although I suppose if it's the flagship policy, I'm surprised, and look, I'm not in that category to be interested in it, but I'm very interested politically, and somehow this has passed me by completely. I didn't even know it existed, and I couldn't help but think, if I didn't know it existed, who is really interested in these kinds of things, even though, of course, I don't have children where I would qualify for this, then how many other people don't know about it? That is appalling that didn't happen. From that perspective, perhaps it is embarrassing. I had never seen it as a flagship policy because I didn't know anything about it, which is
very cool.
Awful maybe. But I'm wondering, I think that might be why there is no take-up. Or very little take-up. It can't be that people don't qualify. I don't believe that. I think they don't know, and maybe the criticism that it's complicated to get is accurate.
Yeah. Christine, when you were running, back then it was called WINS, was that part of, that could be an issue, was in the strategy of it? People didn't know what services they could get? Has that always been an issue?
Well,
Constant.
You remember that I was a beneficiary. I was on DPB before I got my job at the Department of Social Welfare, and they treated us back then. I mean, that was an experience I was supposed to have because they told you nothing. They took as long as possible to give you anything, and they didn't make it easy. And I was determined when I had some power and control in that department that our customers, as we called them, not beneficiaries, would know absolutely everything they were entitled to, but we had an expectation that they would always tell us everything about their lives. And if they didn't, then the hammer would come down very hard, and it did. We were detecting $100 million worth of benefit fraud when I left. So there was still a lot of fraud, but don't worry, Labor disbanded my fraud squads, as they called them, and said that beneficiaries did not commit crimes, they made mistakes.
Oh, that chestnut. Oh, my gosh.
That is exactly what they said to me. They had to be disbanded, when really, we went out of our way to make sure people knew everything, and everything they qualified for they got. But we worked on not keeping them on a benefit for as minimal time as possible, helping them back into work and helping them to stay in that work. So it was a whole new emphasis, but it was a problem, and there was an attitude amongst staff before that time, tell them nothing, give them as little as possible. It was as though it was their money, and that's not the game you play.
I spoke with David Seymour earlier, Christine, here with his Minister of Regulations role. He is hoping to simplify ECE centres. I didn't know this, but there are 98 licensing criteria, 98 for preschools to conform to before they can open their doors. And Seymour said a lot of arbitrary and outdated, so I had to chat to him about the things that they want to do. And what I kind of noted, the critics of it, of his, and they're going out to consultation, but critics say the move would make childcare unsafe for children because it undermined high quality standards of education.
I mean, that is ridiculous, isn't it? I absolutely admire people that put a lot of work into getting a degree to be in this particular industry because it doesn't pay very well. Let's face it, it's way down at the bottom of the barrel, and there should be adequate reward, really good reward for the people who are very qualified, but that doesn't mean you can't mix other people with them, and it doesn't, unsafe, everyone's unsafe today. If you talk to them and they think there's an edge in your voice, they feel unsafe. There's unsafe workplaces. What a load of nonsense. I can't see how that would make children unsafe.
Well, I think it's because, from what I could tell, it's the flexibility over qualifications of staff. And, there would be people there, at least 50% of the staff would have to hold a teaching qualification that was recognised by the Teaching Council. That's
pretty fair.
Yeah, but then you would have, you would also have maybe people working there, say, the childhood, one of the centres, you can nominate a person, a person responsible, they call it, but that person wouldn't need to have an ECE teaching qualification. I mean, is that really important? I mean, come on.
I think that for the parents that's really important to, there will be places where they only hire those that have got qualifications. I think a mixture is really sensible. And look, to lead something, you don't need a piece of paper. In fact, that's probably what's wrong with a lot of things, isn't it? That the piece of paper has become far more important than your ability to do the job. And that's one of the things we're still hung up on, where the rest of the world is changing in terms of that. You can often exclude people who will do a brilliant job because they haven't got a piece of paper. It's got nothing to do with it. People come out of university, they haven't got a damn clue of how to fit into the business world, despite all that study. So, no.
Yeah, I suppose I could see the only conflict might be when it comes to pay, because, I could say, well, I've actually got an ECE qualification, but Christine over there, she just wanted it off the street. Why is she getting all the money? It should be me.
And it should be a mixture of performance and qualifications.
Yes,
you come in with a qualification and you're useless. Why should you be getting more than the person who's brilliant but hasn't got one?
And look, Chris,
you see,
this will upset people, Christine. Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, this is a bit. This will upset people. No, what I was about to say is, aren't they just babysitters?
I used to think that, but having watched a series of grandchildren go to preschool, I have to say that the effort that's put in is really, really admirable, because I have spent quite a lot of time with those grandchildren, and there is real love and care and concern from most of those places, and they do learn a lot. I had another lot that their mum stayed home until they were 7 or 8 or something, and boy, that was real quality. I loved what she did.
Aww.
But I don't think it is just babysitting. I think it used to be like that, and now there really is development in there. But you don't necessarily need a degree to be able to do that.
No. Yeah, I hear you. All right, let's move on to New Zealand first. The party wants to see women defined and in-law as an adult human biological female and man defined as an adult biological male. The purpose is to... How odd. The purpose
it's not odd. I'm being facetious.
I know you are. And the purpose is to uphold legal uncertainty and protect the integrity of sex-based rights. Yeah, your thoughts, Christine. I mean, isn't it weird? I said this yesterday because I was talking about it with another guest, Sal Grover in Australia. And I said, it's almost, if it wasn't so serious, it would be silly that we are debating and trying to get laws up about being biologically male or female. I mean, that's what's bonkers, Christine, to me.
Absolutely crazy. And we've gone so far, which we do in everything. I've got no problem if someone's got a dilemma and they feel in their mid-20s and after that they need to change sex. I've got no problem at all. Just go and get on with your life. Do what you need to do and get on with it. You don't have to demand every right
Yes.
complicates life so much. Because if there are a lot of people left who discriminate against these people, then shame on them, and of course that shouldn't be happening. But this argument is ridiculous. A man is a man and a woman is a woman, and if you want to swap, make the most of your life. Just do what you have to do.
Yeah.